Breaking news from the world of Indycar. The number 12 Team Penske driver, Will Power, will not return coming next season. A lot of us figured this was going to happen, and I think we know who's going to replace him. Devlin DeFrancesco. I mean, it's obvious. Now, in all seriousness, it's going to be David Malukas. We know who's going to be in that 12 car next year. In Penske, other than that, he's very solid for next year, and we are fairly certain who's going to fill those spots. I'm not a Penske fan, despite my Ryan Blaney Menards hat back there. I'm a Blaney fan. That's different. It's going to be interesting to see Team Penske without the leadership of Will Power next year, and whether he's going to step completely down from full-time competition and be entered as the 22 car next year in the 500 for Team Penske, which is my guess what's going to happen once he steps down from full-time competition, or if he's going to go to a new team. I don't think he's going to go to AJ Foyt Racing, because I think him and Larry Foyt would butt heads too much. I don't think that'd be a good fit for him, but where would he land in the paddock right now? I don't know. What I do think is an option that I haven't really seen anyone talk about, and granted, I haven't watched David Bland's video yet, so who knows, maybe he addresses this. It is rumored that Robert Schwartzman will not return next season to Prema or to IndyCar at all. It is likely that he'll return to the European ladder to get into Formula One. This is a sad, sad thing to see happen. But if Prema could get their pocketbooks ready to sign Will Power, this could be huge. A team like that with such veteran leadership and someone who wants to win next year, I think it could happen. Especially when it doesn't seem like too many seats are opening. ECR, they're going to be set for next year. Ganassi, fairly set. Palou is questionable, but who replaces Palou? Won't be Power. Power's not going to go to Ganassi. I don't think he'd be open to it. But also as one last middle finger, Will Power. Two Penske, that'd be pretty funny. But then he rules out any possible correlation with them in the future. Another rumor is Colton Herta heading to F2. Now, if this does happen, this opens up the 26 number one seat at Andretti. Kirkwood will stay in the 27, and that will be moved to the number one seat, especially with Brian Herta as the crew chief for it. It's not going to change. They've honestly sort of been the number one for the past 2 years, but nevertheless, the other big news that dropped today, Rinus VeeKay will not race for Dale Coyne Racing in 2026. He will race in IndyCar. I'm certain of it. As a VeeKay fan, I hope so, but I don't think there's as many questions as there was last year leaving Ed Carpenter Racing, because he didn't perform to expectations in that car, but that car was not good at all. That got so much better this year. It's not even funny. Okay. I just killed a bug on my wall, so now I'm going to have to clean that. Anyways, with him leaving the 18 car, also the 51 car for Dale Coyne Racing will be racing the number 19 next year. This is great because there's no longer the Rick Ware Association that with Dale Coyne that brought us the 51 car. And it means that Dale Coyne has officially moved on. But we know for the past 2 years and for basically all of VeeKay's career, he's been sponsored by an alt company, whether it be BitNile or Ask ROI. It has been a alt company. But we know for next year, Alt Nudes has signed a contract and will be the sponsor of Dale Coyne Racing. But what is an interesting thing to note, and I have looked at their posts, they never mention Ask ROI being the sponsor for the car. Now, it is possible that it will be a situation similar to what VeeKay was in this year, where They don't say anything about Bitnile, but Bitnile's on the car. That is a very, very big possibility, and it could be the same for Ask ROI. But there's also a chance where we will see something that we haven't seen in IndyCar in years, where a sponsor will sponsor multiple different teams. Sort of like Monster Energy and NASCAR sponsoring different teams and different manufacturers. Not sure if they still do that. Uh, Actually, I can't think of anyone that they do that with, but I know they used to. I don't think they do anymore. I think they're only Toyota now, but still. I think this could be huge for sponsorship in IndyCar if Ask RY sticks with VK, even if it is only a shared schedule. If he goes to Foyt, for example, staying with Claridians or Sexton Properties or any of the other AJ Foyt sponsors, because it is heavily rumored that he will be taking the number 4 car at Foyt, which puts pressure on Newgarden and McLaughlin to perform the next year or two. Because if they don't, I don't think the captain's going to have issues, especially with McLaughlin. No, everyone's saying, oh, but he's performed so well in his short time. He has. But if Penske continues this momentum that they've had at the end of the year into next year, and McLaughlin still cannot perform, but the 12 car, whoever it may be, it's Malukas. It's Malukas. They haven't announced it, but it's Malukas. Or Newgarden performing and contending for races, and McLaughlin is not, that makes it questionable if he will continue there. We know that Roger isn't happy with his performance in the month of May. Wrecking out in qualifying and then wrecking out again before the race even starts. It is going to be hard to excuse that if he has another poor performing year next year. And that could lead to VK and Malukas being on Penske in a number of years. But another thing to look at with now with VK having that Honda association through Dale Coyne Racing, if Herta does decide, you know what, I'm going to F2, could he get pulled up to Andretti Autosport, or not Autosport, Andretti Global? I don't think that will happen. I've heard people talking about it online and seen them talking about it. I don't think the Andretti one will happen because of a little known, very unsuccessful driver in Indy Next called Dennis Hauger. Or Lucky Hughes, depending on where Dennis Hauger decides to sign next year. One of those two will be racing in IndyCar next year. I can almost guarantee it. Nothing to look at. Will Dev sign for next season? I don't think any team should sign him. He has not performed. If he should go to a team, I think Coyne. He has not performed up to the Rahal expectations, and that's saying a lot because Rahal has not been great, but he's been the bottom of the barrel there. Louis Foster, if he stays with Rahal, it will not be a surprise to me because I don't think, or first, I think Rahal's going to pay him a pretty penny to stay. Second, I don't think anyone else is really willing to take him right now. If I'm a team owner, and I am slightly biased in everything I'm saying right now, I'm taking VK with the winning experience behind his belt over the young, inexperienced, and honestly, late in this season, very reckless and a dangerous driver in Foster. I'm taking VK over him. Remember, Foster's the reason why David Malukas got airlifted after the Nashville race, or during the Nashville race. And I think that is part of the reason why we haven't heard an announcement on Malukas and where he'll be racing next year. Oh no. Even though we all know it's going to be for Team Penske, if he is unfit to drive for a portion of next season, I don't think they're going to sign him for next season. I think that's why they're waiting on this announcement. We all figure he's going to be in that seat, but at the time of recording this video, he has not been announced. And that might also be because they're looking to see the free agent market. Santino Ferrucci, he's going to stay at Foyt. And I will go through a deep dive into the silly season. But that is just a couple of my thoughts. Miles Rowe and a ton of Indy Next drivers in a year or two will be moving up the ladder. But a ton of them have already re-signed. A whole handful at least have re-signed for next season and will be fighting for the championship. Specifically, a chunk of the Andretti and a chunk of the Abel camps have re-signed. I'm excited to see where VK and where Will Power will land next year, as well as where, or if Pillow, which I think he will, and Herta, which I don't think he will stay in IndyCar. If they will or will not stay in IndyCar, and if they don't, where they decide to go and for what teams. Herta, that is a risk on his legacy and on IndyCar's name or on IndyCar's reputation. But if he goes over there and succeeds, it proves that IndyCar is comparable at least to Formula One. And if Pillow goes over there and destroys the field, it proves that IndyCar is at a much higher class for drivers. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments, and yeah, peace, y'all.